Greetings, fellow Dungeon Delvers, and welcome to DORAN'S and Dragons, where we work together to come up with Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition builds for your favorite League of Legends champions. Today we're building Qiyana, Empress of the Elements. Qiyana is royalty from the city of Ishakan. The youngest of 10 sisters, she pushed herself hard to break out and find a meaningful place in the family. Her mastery of the Ishtal elemental magic set her far apart from her older siblings, who she easily surpassed in skill. While her older sisters had years of study, Qiyana had mastered those same techniques in weeks. This generated a bitterness in her oldest sister that culminated in a duel, leaving Qiyana the rightful successor and her sister crippled. Her parents denied her the spoils of that victory, and Qiyana instead became a leader of the Elementalists of Ishakan. She won't settle until she's the Empress of all Ishtal, no matter who tries to get in her way. Before we get started with the build, go ahead and like the video and hit that subscribe button so you're always notified when we release our builds. We'd like to thank one of this month's Door and Blade patrons, Emperor Qiyana. Surprise, surprise, he chose Qiyana to build as part of the rewards for our Blade tier patrons. Speaking of, we released our first homebrew, Denizens of the Void, to our Blade patrons in August. Here's a preview for next month's release, Into the Frozen Tundra, based on the Freljord. We also started a cool little merch shop. Come join us on Patreon for discounts on that and homebrewed content every month. Alright, now let's get into it. First, let's cover the goals of this build. We need to be able to use our Umlaut like a hula hoop of death while also slinging the elements with it. Qiyana also has a ton of mobility and a lot of hidden damage in her kit. Speaking of which, we need to be able to blend into the brush and then burst out and slaughter our prey. For race, we're going to go with Wood Elf. Wait, not Variant Human? Oh no, he's sick! He's dying! Don't worry, I'm fine. We just wanted to get another race in for once, and Wood Elves gives us a few features that work perfectly with Qiyana. Speaking of, you get a +2 to Dexterity and a +1 to Wisdom. You also gain the Fleet of Foot feature that bumps your base speed to 35 feet. You have advantage on all charm saving throws, and you cannot be put to sleep magically. Then you have Mask of the Wild, which allows you to hide even when you're only lightly obscured by natural phenomena, including foliage. This is going to let us use our bush variant of Elemental Wrath very early. Our background is going to be fairly straightforward here with Noble. Qiyana is an heiress to the throne, she just has 9 other sisters in her way. Nobles have skill proficiencies in History and Persuasion. They also have the Position of Privilege feature. This lets you pay others to take the SATs for your kids so they get into Stanford. Oh wait. Sorry, Aunt Becky. In reality, the rich people in your game will smile at your face while wanting to stab you in the back, and the poor people will kiss up to you, while also wanting to stab you in your back. For stats, we're going to be using the Standard Array. It's that set of rules you fall back on if you roll like garbage and you're panicking because, like, if you don't have a high stat character or are you even playing D&D? Roll if you'd like, but we need at least a 13 in Charisma and Dexterity for multi-classing purposes. Dexterity is up first. Like we covered earlier, Qiyana is highly mobile and zooms around the rift in her city's jungles. We'll grab Charisma next. She's co-opted the Elementalist of her city, and not merely because of her magical prowess. Wisdom is next. Though she is a bit brash, she knows when she's on the right path and will eventually be the queen of Ishtal. Next we'll take Intelligence. Qiyana is bright and is showing no signs of slowing on her goals. Constitution is going to be our average score. She isn't squishy enough to warrant this as a dump stat. Thanks, Black Cleaver. Speaking of dumps, Strength is ours. Qiyana uses the swaying of her hips and the agility of her body to swing the Umlaut. Speaking of which, the only special equipment we'll need is the Umlaut, which is Qiyana's main weapon, and we'll need to get a little creative here. I think if you convince your DM to flavor a short sword into one, you'll be fine. Speaking for myself as a DM, as long as you're not trying to abuse mechanics, I don't really care how you flavor your weapons. It's more about, getting you excited about the character, in my eyes. Alrighty, let's kick things off with a level in Bard. Even without KDA Qiyana, the way she moves around the battlefield manipulating the elements is an intricate dance. We'll just need to vocalize it a bit. Bards have a D8 hit die and proficiencies in light armor, simple weapons, handbows, long swords, rapiers, and short swords. You also get 3 skill proficiencies. We'll grab Acrobatics, Athletics, and Intimidation. Bardic Inspiration is one of our iconic features. This is a pool of scaling dice that you can give to your allies to help them with most d20 rolls. These dice recharge on a long rest. Our final feature this level is our spellcasting. As always, we're only focused on the Qiyana spells here. Feel free to fill in the gaps however you'd like. We'll pick up a cantrip and a level 1 spell here. Vicious Mockery is a cantrip that lets you unleash all chat on a target. You spew out that toxicity and the target has to make a wisdom saving throw or take 1d4 psychic damage. Plus it has disadvantage on its next attack roll while it's flaming you back in chat. We'll also grab Summoner Spell Heal through the Cure Wounds spell. You touch a creature and it gains 1d8 HP plus your spellcasting ability mod. Second level bards get Jack of all trades. This lets you add half your proficiency bonus to any ability check you make that doesn't include it already. Song of Rest lets you give an additional scaling die of health whenever an ally uses a hit die to heal during a short rest. Level 3 bards choose their College of Techniques. We're going to go with College of Swords to really get our Omlot going. First, we get expertise in 2 skill proficiencies, which lets us double our proficiency bonus for them. To amp our battlefield mobility, we'll grab Acrobatics and Athletics. We also get some bonus armor and weapon proficiencies, specifically medium armor and the scimitar. Plus, if you're proficient with a weapon, you can use it as a spellcasting focus, which will really let us bring Tear Shape and Elemental Wrath online. There's still a bunch of features at this level, so bear with me. We also get a fighting style. Dueling gives you a +2 bonus to damage rolls when you're only wielding one weapon in one hand. Blade Flourish gives us some bonuses whenever we take the attack action. Our walking speed increases by 10 feet, and if you hit on your attack, you can use a Blade Flourish option. All 3 cost 1 of your Bardic Inspiration die. Defensive Flourish lets you roll the die to deal extra damage to your target. You also get to add the number rolled to your AC until the end of your next turn. Slashing Flourish essentially gives you the Battlemaster sweeping attack. You deal extra damage based on the die to your target and another target within 5 feet. Mobile Flourish will give us the mobility of our Terra Shape and the knockback of our Supreme Display of Talent. You deal the extra damage based on the die, and you can push the target 5 feet plus whatever you rolled on the die. You can then burn your reaction to move up to your walking speed to within 5 feet of the target. We're almost done with this level, but we have one more thing to go over, level 2 spells. We have 2 spells here. Hold Person is a staple in our builds. This lets you choose a humanoid and force a wisdom save on it. If it fails, it's paralyzed. This works as the river version of our Elemental Wrath. Speaking of, Invisibility is going to give us the bush version of Elemental Wrath. This lets you touch a creature and turn it invisible as long as you maintain concentration. We're going to combine this with another spell we get in a few levels to bring the ability to life fully. Phew, that's finally over. 4th level bards gain an ability score improvement. We're going to pick up a feat to gain our terrain version of Elemental Wrath. Magic Initiate Sorcerer will let us pick up 2 cantrips and a level 1 spell from the Sorcerer list. Booming Blade is going to give us our passive Royal Privilege. You make a melee attack, and if it hits, an additional 1d8 thunder damage applies and wraps the target in booming energy. If they move willingly out of the space, they take an additional 2d8 thunder damage. We'll also take Firebolt for the summoner spell Ignite. Normally we wouldn't stress for extra spells, but Qiyana always takes Ignite mid, so this felt necessary. You hurl a bolt of fire at a creature. If it hits, the target takes 1d10 fire damage. The first level spell we're going to pick up here is Catapult. You pick an object and yeet it. Ideally for Qiyana, this is a stone of some kind. It flies in a straight line up to 90 feet. Any creature that's in the path of the object needs to make a dexterity save or take 3d8 bludgeoning. Level 5 bards get Font of Inspiration. This lets you recharge your Bardic Inspiration die on a short rest as well as a long rest. We also get level 3 spells. We only have 1 to get here though. Plant Growth is the other spell we need for the brush version of our Elemental Wrath. You can make all plants in a 100-foot radius become thick and overgrown. And remember, your Omlot is your spell focus, so this spell will roll right off of it. 6th level bards get Counter Charm. As an action, you can start a performance that gives you and any allies advantage on saves against being charmed or frightened as long as they can hear you. They also get extra attack. This lets you attack twice whenever you take the attack action. Level 7 bards get 4th level spells. The only one we'll take here is Greater Invisibility. This is the same as regular invisibility, except you don't drop it if you attack or cast a spell. 8th level bards get another ability score improvement. We'll take another feat to pick up our E, Audacity. Mobile bumps your speed by 10 feet, and when you dash, extra terrain doesn't cost extra movement on your turn. Also, when you make a melee attack against a creature, you don't provoke opportunity attacks from it, whether it hits or not. Level 9 bards get 5th level spells. We're going to upgrade our Hold Person to Hold Monster. It's the same spell essentially, except the humanoid restrictions removed. This is going to let us paralyze Rift Herald and even the Drakes. Just kidding. Your DM is going to make you cry when they use legendary resistances to ignore your efforts. 10th level bards get another round of expertise. We're going to pick up intimidation and persuasion, because as we saw with what she did to her sister, Qiyana doesn't mess around. We also pick up some magical secrets at this level. You can choose any 2 spells or cantrips from any class's spell list to add to your spell arsenal. First, we'll take Elemental Weapon, which is another way to get our passive Royal Privilege. This will empower your Omlot. You get a +1 to attack rolls, and you can deal an extra 1d4 of either acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage when it hits. Second, we'll take Destructive Wave to get our ultimate, Supreme Display of Talent. You slam the ground, creating a burst of energy that ripples out from you. Each creature has to make a con save or take 5d6 thunder and 5d6 radiant or necrotic damage, your choice, and be knocked prone. If they do make the save, they only take half damage and they aren't knocked prone. Alright, here's where things start to get a little controversial and I might lose some of you. But since we got all of our flavor and spell abilities, now we need to ramp up the damage by getting some levels in Rogue. Rogues have a d8 hit die, so we're going to be consistent across. The only proficiency we pick up here is Stealth, which will help with our hiding in the bushes. We get another set of skills to expertise here. We'll choose Stealth and Perception. The Thieves' Cant is a coded language we pick up that allows you to speak to your other ill ilk in plain conversation without others understanding you. Our final level 1 feature is Sneak Attack. This lets you add another bit of damage to any attack you make with advantage, or if your target has an enemy within 5 feet of it. Remember, this scales with our rogue levels, and by the end we'll end up with 5d6 bonus damage. Second level rogues get Cunning Action. This will let us use our bonus action to dash, disengage, or hide. This is another way we'll get to utilize our audacity and our general battlefield mobility. Level 3 rogues choose their roguish archetype. We're going to fall into Qiyana's League role with the Assassin subtype. This gives us proficiency with the Disguise and Poisoner's Kit. We can also leverage our Brush Elemental Wrath with the Assassinate feature. Any creature you hit that is surprised is a guaranteed critical strike. In addition, you have advantage on any creature that hasn't taken a turn in combat yet. 4th level rogues get an ability score improvement. We're going to bump our dexterity by 2 points to almost cap ourselves. This is going to make our Omlot easier to hit with and a small bump in damage. Level 5 rogues unlock Uncanny Dodge. When an attack you can see hits you, you can burn your reaction to take only half damage from the attack. 6th level rogues gain another expertise. We're out of skills to pick here, so we're going to pick up History and our Thieves' Tools. Level 7 rogues gain Evasion. This makes spellcasters hate you with a passion. Whenever you're forced to make a dexterity saving throw to take only half damage from an effect, you take none if you succeed and only half damage if you fail. 8th level rogues gain another ability score improvement, but not our last. We're going to bump our dex and charisma this time to max our dex and bring our charisma a little closer to where we want it. Level 9 assassins get Infiltration Expertise. This lets you spend a week and 25 gold to establish an entirely new identity as long as it doesn't belong to somebody else, potentially letting you infiltrate establishments with ease. 10th level rogues get the final ability score improvement of the build. We're going to take the Elven Accuracy feat to round up our charisma as well as give us an ability. Whenever you have an advantage on an attack roll using dexterity, like our Omlot, you could re-roll one of the dice and keep the new result. Alright, now that we've completed the build, let's see how we did. First, the good. We got the elements. Move over, Aang, because Qiyana is coming and she has no qualms over killing a Fire Lord. Can we talk about the skill modifiers you get by combining Rogue and Bard levels? Plus 17 to Stealth? That's insane! We also have a ton of diggity dankage. Qiyana has plenty of abilities to stack on the damage. Finally, our Omlot is awesome, and being able to use it as a spellcasting focus is so cool. Now the bad. Our main con is that we kinda use Bard here in a weird way. Some people may take issue with it. We're also a tad squishy. Coming from Braum to Qiyana, we've dipped quite a bit in the health pool department. Finally, I also know a lot of people wanted to go 4 Elements Monk with this one. Remember, these are just our interpretations. The varieties and possibilities are endless, and that's my favorite part about doing these. So, what'd you think? I've included a link to this build via D&D Beyond in the description below, as well as Amazon links to the books used in this build. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider supporting us on Patreon. We have a few awesome rewards, including access to our Discord community and monthly homebrew releases. We plan on churning out one League Champion build every week. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll catch you on the Rift, or in the Forgotten Realms.